Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you and you can hear me, I hope.
I can hear you.
Awesome.
I can hear you.
Awesome. I had a call with Rayanne yesterday and we were both just doing sign language at each other for a while.
Sorry, I'm adjusting myself.
There. I just came from the gym, so if I'm looking a little flush, that's why.
No, you look good.
Okay, let me get myself organized.
Organized.
So I'm going to, of course, introduce myself first. In case they don't know me, but
Who doesn't know the great
I know
Diana
the
Bowes?
famous.
The famous, infamous.
I had someone say that to me just a couple of weeks ago, something about being Doreen Keelish. I don't know. I think it's a part of the way she butters people up. But she's like, you're so well known in the city and you're this. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't care. Just come to my trade show. That's all I care.
That's right. Come to the trade show.
Just a second. We're recording right now. Hello, Fabulous at 50 Sisters. My name is Diana Bowes, and I am the creative director of Fabulous at 50. Today, you're receiving this gift of inspiration because you're a Cosmo Club member, and it's a special thing only for you. One of the things that I love best about Fabulous at 50 and over the years, and this is, we're going into our 10th year, is that I get to meet amazing people along this journey, and some of them become very good friends as well, so I'm pretty privileged for that. They all have, all the women that I will be, and men, there might be a man or two in there, will be sharing, just some of their knowledge and things that I think will really inspire you. And hopefully that you'll share some love with these lovely people by sending them an email or contacting them and or participating in some of their programs. Some of them have programs as well. Today, we are going to be talking to Laurel Vespi. And Laurel Vespi and I think we met through eWomen.
I think so. Maybe.
Yeah. And Laurel, she looks so young. I don't even know how this is possible. She's been a motivational speaker for 30 years and a mindfulness coach. And that's something that we're hearing more and more about in our world. And because of the stress, we're all living these really stressful lives, trying to do way more than we probably should. We always need to increase our productivity, no matter if we're working from home or in a job site, and to find balance as an entrepreneur. Finding balance and having fun is one of the things that she talks a lot, and that she's using this new simple 3P approach. It's called pause, pay attention, practice. I love that. Laurel guides people to a mindful way of living in a practical, down-to-earth way so that their days are both more manageable and meaningful. And who doesn't want that? Laurel has written 2 award-winning books, one of being Spontaneous Combustion. I love her books. Every time I read them, I feel like I wish I would have written it. Like, I feel like every word in there is something that I so identify with. This book gives readers a kind of a kick in the pants about how to stop waiting for the important things in life. And this is a message that Laurel and I both feel very, very strongly about. Her newest book is To Be Awake, provides practical strategies for mindful and intentional living. And I am one of those people that I am always trying to do 10 things at once. These calls, you can't do that. That's one of the great things about them. You can't be doing anything else. But if I can do 2 or 3 things at a time, sometimes that's where I go. But I find that when I kind of get in that one place where I just put my full awareness and attention on one thing, some really magical things happen. So, the whole talk around mindfulness is something that Laurel, that you're speaking on a lot. And, what really is mindfulness? Like, can you just give us a definition of that?
Absolutely, and thank you. First, thank you, Diana, for the work that you do and the way that you connect women and some men to really embracing their lives and in the most fabulous way possible. So I'm proud to be your friend and certainly pleased to be here talking with your Cosmo members. Mindfulness, yes. What is that? Because we see it all everywhere we go. Mindful is now attached to almost everything that we're doing, and I think people do have a lot of misconception about what the heck does that actually mean. The simplest definition, or the one that I think is easiest for people to wrap their heads around, is mindfulness is about conscious awareness of the present moment, which really means that we're just paying attention to what is actually happening right now in this moment. Mm-hmm. And what it doesn't mean is we're going to always be living in this moment. I think that there's this expectation now that's been created that we're all going to live in the moment, which is impractical at best, and kind of silly at the opposite end, because we're not going to live always in this moment. We do have lots and lots of things that we're doing. We do spend time thinking about the future, and we do spend time thinking about the past, and we are distracted. I'm distracted. So to set up this expectation that we're always going to be in the moment kind of defeats the purpose. Mm-hmm. So mindfulness is really, how can we continually return to this moment, be aware of when we're distracted, be aware of when we're not paying attention, and bring our attention back to what it is that we're doing. Mm-hmm. So mindfulness it's not a thing that we do, that I've checked off my mindfulness task for today, and then we go on doing whatever it is that we're doing. It's really about how can we begin to create a way of being or a way of engaging with life that we are paying attention more often, that we're present to what's happening rather than always being distracted and not even being aware that we're distracted.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, or you get somewhere, I mean, this has happened to, I think, everybody, is you get to, I drive out to St. Albert and I get out there and I'm like, I don't even remember stopping at any lights. Yeah. Oh my God, I hope I did.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a common, we all have that experience, right? Yeah. It's a good thing that I got here, because I don't remember actually getting myself here. So that's a pretty common experience. And it's also true of so many other things that we're doing when we're eating. It's that, oh, gee, I can't believe that I ate that, whole bag of whatever, or I don't actually remember the meal that I had, or I'm doing tasks, but I don't really remember them. Here's a great way to be thinking about what mindfulness means. Many people, when they get in the shower, they're physically in the shower, but they're not really present in the shower. So we get in the shower and we're busy thinking about, I got to do this, I got to do that, or I'm thinking about a conversation that I've had, but I'm not actually paying attention to the fact that I'm in the shower. My mind is somewhere else. Oh, I
love the shower.
Well, and I mean, the shower can be a very creative place for thinking. Yeah. It's not that, I only have to pay attention to the shower when I'm in the shower. Mm-hmm. But if I could get in the shower and spend the first moment or two paying attention to the feeling of the water as it crosses your body, the smell of a soap, or what does it feel like on my skin when I'm lathering things up. And then of course maybe you're moving on to be thinking about your day, but just pausing for a moment to be present to the fact that you're in the shower.
That's a great example. Mm-hmm. So why do you think that we're hearing so much about mindfulness? Like what are the things that are happening right now that are creating this need?
Yeah. Well, the best description of the 21st century, I think, is that it it is an epidemic of distraction. Everyone is distracted all the time. People are busy all the time. And I think we've gotten to sort of this critical tipping point where people recognize that's what's happening and are not happy with the outcome of that. So people are recognizing, you know what, I don't actually spend time paying attention when I'm having conversations with my partner or with my kids or whoever. It's just, we're just going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And I think there's a real awareness that we're doing that. And we're attached to our technology, where it gets all of our attention. Not that technology is bad, not in any way is it a bad thing, but our relationship with technology has gotten pretty dysfunctional, where it gets our attention and human beings don't get our attention, or we allow ourselves to be distracted away from this thing that we're doing because something beeps or buzzes or vibrates or.
Yeah, exactly. I went yesterday and did in St. Albert, a float therapy.
Oh, really?
I've never done it before. I had no idea. Didn't really have much interest, but John had bought some Groupon, so I said, you should give this a try. And you want to talk about no distractions. Like there is zero, like there's no sound, there's no light, the water's not too hot, it's not too cold, like it's just nothing. There's just nothing. So it took me a while. Like I floated around in there and, kind of bumped into the sides a bit. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this for an hour. Like this, I don't know. Like I can lay on my couch at home kind of. And then the next thing I know, I heard the music playing, which meant that the time was over. I had fallen asleep.
Oh, really? Really?
I had fallen asleep. And when I woke up, I was just in this, it was like I was on the most comfortable bed in the most comfortable position I've ever been on. It was just, I didn't even want to move. I just wanted to just stay in that position. It was the weirdest, neatest, coolest thing. But man, I bet you it took me probably 40 minutes to get to that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're used to having a lot of distractions.
And I'm used to doing something.
Yes. So just that idea of doing nothing, we've kind of demonized this idea of doing nothing. That if someone were to ask you, what are you doing? And you say, well, I'm not doing anything. They kind of look at you like, gee, must be nice. I have so many things I don't have the luxury of doing nothing. But what we forget is that actually doing nothing, having, and whether they're just moments or whether they're, 40 minutes floating in a tank, those moments of doing nothing, those moments of pause are really important for us to be able to kind of have our equilibrium back again. That we need to have moments where there's nothing that has to be done. Now, I know for some of your ladies there listening and thinking, I don't have the luxury of doing nothing because I have so much to do. And that's one of the most important messages I want to share with people is it's not about taking huge chunks of time. It's about learning how to insert moments of pause back into our day, whether that's a moment of pause where we're tapping into, what's happening within me or what's happening around me, or a moment of pause where, really, I do not need to do anything for the next moment or two. I can just sit here and it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially women, that's, I think men find it easier to do that. We had our grandchildren here for 2 weeks staying with us, and we haven't seen Evelyn since she was like 2 months old, so she doesn't know us. And then of course the new baby doesn't know us. She's only 2 months old now. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I noticed about myself was that I was never still. Like I was never still, and I thought for a moment, maybe if I sat down with a book or something, she would come to me. but like, I'm always moving, I'm always going, I'm always doing this. I never really noticed that before about myself until I had Evelyn around.
Mm.
Yeah, how could she come to me, you know, because I'm trying to just give her just some time, you know, not trying to overwhelm her with all these new people. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, poor little thing. It's like this Tasmanian devil is spinning around her, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, I think we have gotten so out of the habit that when we do pause initially, it just feels weird and uncomfortable because we're not used to it. We're used to go, go, go. We're used to, you know, a big to-do list that, you know, we go to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And so it feels uncomfortable because as soon as we pause, we begin to create awareness. When we just pause for a moment, we become aware of, oh, I'm hungry, or I'm tired, or I'm, you know, my neck hurts. I'm carrying some irritation. And we don't like that feeling of awareness. I always talk about awareness. There's kind of a blessing and a curse to awareness because we can't make any purposeful choices unless we have awareness.
Right.
But once we have awareness, it's now sitting there as this reminder of now you know, now you have the information, you could maybe do something.
What are you going to do with it now?
Yeah.
So what were you think though is like the biggest obstacle? Like I know for me what is, but
well, what is it for you? What is it for you?
Well, I mean, the way I've trained myself, you know, is to I don't like to get out of the habit of things. So even when I go to Victoria, you know, every day I will plan one thing, at least one thing, to get myself doing something. I am a doer, and I have to slot in time to, you know, to whether it's meditation or even exercise. I'm very structured with those things. So for me, it's just what gets in my way is my timetable gets too full, and I don't make time for it, or I try to do too many things at once.
Yeah, I mean that's probably pretty common. I think there's a few things that get in the way, and we're talking about getting in the way of how can we be more mindful about how it is we're going about things. Mm-hmm. One, I think people think they don't have time. I just don't have time for that. This is good. This is nice. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for everything that's already on my list, so I certainly don't have time for that. And you know, my response to that is the more that we begin to infuse mindfulness practices into our day, what we find is that time shifts because we are more aware of where we're spending our time, what we're giving our time to.
Right.
So that's the first thing, is this idea that I don't have time. The second is that we have this idea that it's going to take a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And
yes,
what I really want people to understand is that there are some really simple things that don't need to take a lot of time. Truly, moments. And if we can begin to pay attention to some moments throughout the day, then everything begins to shift. And I think the third and really big thing the challenge that people have around mindfulness is what I call stick with itness. That they, even when you're motivated and you understand, yes, this is a good thing and I want to do this, that we don't stick with it long enough to actually become a habit, that we begin to infuse pauses, but we don't stick with it long enough so that they are now habits. And it takes much longer. People think it takes like 21 days or 30 days to create a habit. It doesn't. It takes much, much longer than that.
One of the things that I've been working with Shonda Holt, and she's a holistic, she works with food and nutrition. And one of the things that she says is a big problem for people is that we're really not mindful when we're eating. So, which creates, we make bad choices and we eat things that don't sit well with us. And so one of the things she has asked me to do is that before I eat, just to take a minute and just take some deep breaths and just kind of sit for a minute before I start. Even if I go into the bathroom, if I'm at a restaurant, or just sit for a couple minutes before I start eating and just take a few nice deep breaths and then eat. And you know what? I've struggled with it. You think, how hard does that sound? Well, the next thing I know, my mouth's full and I'm like, oh, crap, I forgot to do it again. Like, it's just something that I don't know, I stick a thing on my forehead, or what do I do to get myself to remember to do it, to make part, it's like, would be like saying a prayer before every meal.
Yeah.
I just struggle with it. I forget way more than I remember.
And that really is, that is the challenge for people. But what I want you to know is that if you can stick with it long enough, it actually will become a habit.
Yeah.
And so there is that way of figuring out, what would it be for me if that would help me actually stick with that practice that you're talking about. So, and again, I'm a big believer in, we don't have to have the whole, I'll say the whole enchilada, since we're talking about food. We don't need to have that all at once. It's, let's do one meal.
Yes.
Let's practice with one meal. So maybe it's about breakfast. Okay, let me try to create a habit around breakfast that is, okay, I pause, I maybe take a couple of breaths. The other thing that's really great about helping you just sort of slow down and be present to the food is to have a sensory experience of the food. So take a couple of breaths, and then before you begin eating, actually smell it. Like maybe it's pick up the plate and just inhale the smell of it. Or pausing for a moment to look at it. So you're having that visual experience of, okay, just let me look at, like, imagine that this is the first time I've ever seen this plate of food. I'm just going to look at it just for a moment. And then when I take that first bite, that one bite where I just wait just for a few seconds to actually taste it and now begin.
Yeah.
And if you start with one meal rather than I'm going to do this every time I eat, because wow, that feels overwhelming.
Yeah.
So just one meal, or even maybe it's not the meal. Maybe it's, I like to talk about having a cup of mindfulness, because most people start their day with some sort of hot beverage in a cup, a cup of tea, a cup of hot water, a cup of coffee, or something. And so if you can start just for the first few moments of, I feel the weight of the cup in my hand, I feel the warmth, I bring it up and I smell it, and then when I taste it, I allow myself to just actually taste it, then feel it go down my throat. Now I've been present to having that cup of coffee or tea in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds lovely too, because I think that food is just such a big part of our lives. And like my daughter's a huge foodie, and oh my gosh, she loves it. Like, she's that person that smells it, and when she cooks it, like, just, she does it with such love. And I think, I love that. I love watching people cook that love to cook and love to eat. And John loves to eat. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is.
But if you think about, food is a sensory experience.
Oh, for sure.
When you, and think about those times when you really tap into that. So maybe you walk into the grocery store and you can smell the bakery. It's like, oh, smell that bread. Or I know in our house, if I come in and Frank has been, making sauce, as a good Italian, come in and you smell the garlic.
That's magical.
And it's just, oh, doesn't that smell wonderful? But here's the thing. Those scents are there with all our food. So imagine, before you take that sip of wine, that, you actually just inhale it for a moment, or, you know, your peanut butter on your toast, or whatever it is that you just for a moment pause and pay attention. There's that pause and pay attention. And then fine, you know, then we go back to, you know, not paying attention while we're eating the rest of the meal. Okay, fine. But that's how we begin. And if we can have some of those little habits that are just about the moment, then they build. And now that moment, you know, connects to another moment, and it connects to another moment, and all of a sudden we're paying attention to life in a wholly different way.
Very cool. Yes, I love this. What are you working on right now? Is there anything that we all need to know about?
What am I working on? So the big focus that I have now is about how can people understand that it is about creating the moments of pause. And if we can really begin to build those as a habit, you know, the people that I've been working with, they, you know, all begin to say, I can't believe such simple things have made such a huge difference.
Yeah.
And again, it's the challenge of how do we make those moments of pause and pay attention habitual, so that we're always doing them. So that's sort of the really big focus. I'm also doing more work in schools now, working with teachers about how it is, you know, teachers are so stressed out and, you know, have so much on their plates. They function in a very distractible environment, right? You're in a classroom with being pulled, you know, 17 different ways at once. And so how can they be more mindful about their teaching? So that's kind of an exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that it's, you know, we're seeing something on Facebook about some school that was teaching their kids meditation. And I thought, wow, you know, instead of giving these kids times out, just take a 1 minute meditative break and get all the kids to do it, not just the one that's misbehaving.
Yeah. And what the great thing about the work that I'm doing is there is lots of cool things you can teach kids, but I'm really focusing on teachers and what teachers can do for themselves that then impact the kids.
Of course. Yeah. Because
that's where it begins.
I mean, if you have a grumpy teacher, I mean, it just kind of flows through the whole room. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Is there anything I missed, or something you have a burning desire to?
A burning desire? Well, I do want to share, if people are interested in this idea of how can we grab onto moments of pause, there's, they can read more about that. I guarantee them that they can do it in a really simple way into their lives, where it's not, oh no, one more thing, I don't have time for one more thing. I can also let them know that the feedback that I get is that, wow, it really hugely makes a difference. So they can go check that out at laurelvespi.com /10 minutes a day. And 10 is the number 10. And it's 10 minutes a day because it truly is less than 10 minutes a day of infusing intentional pause back into your day can make all the difference. So people can go check that out, or even just at laurelvespi.com. It'll take you to a free guided meditation there on the homepage, some other stuff if they're just interested in wanting to slow down for a moment, and how can they kind of have that reset.
And you're also a Cosmo Club coach.
Yes.
So as a Cosmo Club member, they get to get a session with you, so that you can, you know, talk more personally about what's going on with them. And I think it's one of the best parts of the Cosmo Club myself, is the coaching piece of it, because I believe that at any age we should continue learning and growing, especially learning about ourselves. I mean, I find out something new about myself every day, and I'm going to be 59 next week.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, you know, like I just, it's a little adventure that.
Yeah, and I think what people don't understand is, and why taking advantage of those Cosmo Club coaches is such a great thing, is that people underestimate what it is that can happen in those short calls that we do. That sometimes we can turn on a light bulb, or have a little piece of clarity about something that points people in the right direction, that can make all the difference in the world. And so, I look forward to the opportunity to get to work with your Cosmo Club ladies, because I really believe that there are just some simple tweaks that we can do that begin to make all the difference. And then if people want to go on and, look at other bigger, more involved practices around mindfulness, that's great. But we can begin very small, very small.
Yeah. Oh, Laurel, thank you so much. It's always great talking with you, whether it's through Zoom or in a coffee shop, which we do quite often. Thank you so much. I'm sure everybody's going to get a lot out of this, and I hope that some of the ladies tap into this mindfulness idea, because I think it's probably one of the biggest concepts right now that's making, where I'm challenged with. And I think sometimes it's the things that challenge you the most are the things you need to do.
Yes.
And from those things.
Exactly. And to know that, we're all challenged. All of us are challenged by it, but we can keep moving forward. It's just like when we set these huge expectations for ourselves that we get discouraged. So don't be discouraged. Just want to stick with it.
Well, I think, that we all forget, as we didn't learn to walk the first time. We had to keep trying, and it's a good thing we did, because then we learned to walk. And it's the same with a practice of mindfulness or yoga or meditation or whatever it is you're choosing to do. You might not be very good at it, and at first, like that float tank, bumping into the sides, and it's like, I don't know, like, am I doing, I did mantras in my head, and I was trying to, it's new.
Yeah.
So cool. I did something new yesterday. Aren't I lucky to still have things that are new?
Yeah. And, it does take a long time to create a habit. I mean, you think about pretty much everyone has a habit of brushing their teeth now, but think of how long it took that. It took somebody saying, brush your teeth. No, now go brush your teeth. Now go brush your teeth. Now go brush your teeth. Like, it took a lot of reminders and repetition in order to create now what is truly a habit. Yeah. So sometimes we think, partly because magazines tell us, 21 days, 30 days. Oh, nonsense. We know that it takes a much, much longer to create a habit than that.
Yeah, so true, so true. Okay, my friend. Pardon?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. As always. Yeah. It's always fun. I'm really enjoying doing these calls. It's, I get the privilege of meeting all of people like you, and it's so nice to be able to share that with all of these ladies everywhere, because we have members everywhere now. So, and growing at a nice pace.
Yeah. Well, always my pleasure to be with you anytime.
Thanks so much. Thanks. Well, have a great day, everyone. And Laurel, we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Diana.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.